From CBS 2 News, a breaking news report.
This is a special news report. This is Zarir Dumasia coming to you live from CBS headquarters. This just in, a new BP oil rig off the coast of Antarctica has been engulfed in flames last night at 12 a.m., the 5th of January. We have information saying that the oil rig caught on fire due to a bubble in the drilling tube, which bursted out and caused a spark in the tube, which the flammable oil combusted and exploded. Fire engulfed the whole rig. Sitting with me here today is Tony Hayward, the BP company oil executive, and he will be explaining the tragedies which commenced.
The BP oil company found out that our new oil rig off the coast of Antarctica has been caught on fire by an explosion while drilling. An alarm was set off which responded to our HQ and also the nearest response harbor. The Sea Patrol arrived at the oil rig, saw the smoke 100 kilometers away. The whole rig was engulfed in flame and people saw workers falling off the rig on fire. So far we have recorded that no survivors survived the incident. But the Sea Patrollers clearing out and inspecting the oil rig have found that only one of the life rafts have been missing, so there may be survivors.
It has already been 2 weeks after the incident, and the world's expectations of the missing life raft with the possible survivors have been long gone. Until we received word from the Falkland Islands that the life raft drifted onto the shore of Surf Bay in Stanley. Live on Stanley right now is our live-action news reporter Daniel Fauci. On to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Zarir. I'm reporting live right now about 3 men, Brentley Johnson, Robert Johnson, and Winston Neil Scott, with a representative of the rescuers, Bianca on the Falkland Islands, where the 3 men were found to have passed away. So Bianca, what was suspected to have happened before the 3 men arrived to this island?
Well, a few days ago we had noticed the big BP oil rig explosion, which the black smoke just completely engulfed the sky. We suspected nobody could have survived. Even if they did, they would have frozen out there alone or just have been burned to death. To think that these 3 guys could have gotten out of this tragic explosion was quite stunning. They managed to get all the way to the Falkland Islands.
Right. This is a really big and tragic event. How do you think they managed to survive the cold for at least a week?
Well, there were fire pits stained in the sand, and we suspected that they had survival training for matters like these, and they followed through the skills really well of like finding clam shells and shrimps to eat, like fishing on the shore, and it was a really good idea to get food overall.
What was the whole process you took to manage to suspect that these men were even out here in the southern part of South America?
Well, we saw a life raft off Surf Bay at Stanley, as well as a ridge flare on that same day. There was smoke reported by the Sky Patrollers at 12 a.m. on January 5th, coming from the same island which had the life raft. The patrollers thought the smoke was from natives of the island, but what we found strange was that the fire was burning off the beach and not inland. The next day we suspected they weren't natives burning that fire and decided to go down with warm clothes ready for the people. By the time we stepped foot on the island, there were 3 men planted in the sand as they were suspected to have passed away during the night due to the cold.
Thanks, Bianca. So now we see how much that survival training in any sort of ocean-related project is so important to know. Even though these 3 men did not survive and stay alive, in time, they still did what they could and made the rescuers know they were there. And they are now found and not missing forever.
What a tragic event. Now we have in the studio the mother of the 2 Johnson brothers and the cousin of Winston Neil Scott. I am deeply sorry for the losses, both of you. Mrs. Johnson, did your 2 boys usually send you letters or an email of some sort?
Yes, they would usually send me letters telling me about how they were and how well their project was going. They recently told me that their drilling expedition was going really well, and then they struck another area, which will provide more fuel. But after that letter, I haven't received anything else, which is odd because I would usually receive a letter from them, both of them. But when their letter didn't arrive, I wasn't worried. It was probably late or something. But then a week has passed and the incident occurred.
I'm very sorry, man. What about you, Anthony? Any letters like Miss Johnson?
No, my cousin wasn't into writing letters. He was more of a social person, waiting to come back and to tell everybody about his experiences. He told me before he left that it would end about 1 week ago, so I never really expected anything wrong. Then I got a shocking call saying my cousin had passed away from my aunt, Winston's mother, and it was just so tragic. I had to come over and see Mrs. Scott. I didn't want to go because she would have just broken up when she saw me. So I decided to come over and check Winston out. Winston and I were quite close. We spoke about 3 times a month, except for when he left for his project on the bridge.
Thanks, Anthony. And again, I'm very sorry for your loss. What a tragedy. Good night, folks, and thanks for watching CBS Special News Report.
This has been breaking news from CBS 2.